What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another instant reactions video. Today, we're here to discuss the Detroit Lions' 31-23 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to advance to the NFC Championship. So let's get it started. Welcome, everybody, to a video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, man, we are back with another instant reactions video, man. These are so fun. These are so fun. You know, it's so fun to sit here and talk about a dub. But, man, we're not just talking about any win. We're talking about the win that's advancing us to the championship game, to represent the NFC. You know what this makes me think of? So I was telling this to my dad before he left after the game. I was telling him 2014, I can remember them putting up on the screen. Lions were 7-2 at the time. And I remember them talking about this could be the NFC championship preview. The Lions, I believe we were facing the Cardinals, so we would have been 7-3 at the time. 7-2, 7-3. We had the Cardinals, we had the Patriots. We lost both those games. But I remember them saying that. I remember the feeling it gave me, like, hold up. He's right. We could represent the NFC this year. We're that good. Obviously, that didn't happen. Then 9 years later, it doesn't feel that long. But we're here. And this time, it's legit. The Lions have an opportunity to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, and it's one more game. Oh, my goodness. This is incredible. Like, this is one of those episodes where it's like there's things that I want to talk about from this game, but at the same time, I don't know how to describe this feeling. Outside of really what Dan Campbell said, Dan Campbell in his presser today, where he said that basically he had the vision that the Lions would be able to compete with the big dogs. You know, that's how he laid it out there. And man, man, did that vision come true. I mean, we are about to go face the San Francisco 49ers at their field. You want to talk about the big dogs. Like, I'm watching this happen, right? We got the Chiefs. We got the Bills taking place. That game's taking place. They're going to meet the Ravens in the NFC Championship. I mean, these are the big dogs that you think about in the NFL, right? If I go around, like, man, who's the best? It's the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Niners. And the Lions have put themselves into that category. The Lions are in that discussion. Man, I just want to say thank you, Sheila Hamp, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, Mike Disner, everybody involved. Okay, I can't go through every name, but oh my goodness, the coordinators for coming back, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. This is really amazing. This is amazing, and I'm happy for everybody that's able to witness this. For a lot of us, never seen the Lions win a playoff game. I never saw the Lions win a playoff game. I saw them go 3 times. Didn't see them win any of them. But for a lot of you, you know, maybe there's some of you that probably were alive last time the Lions won a playoff game, all witnessing history at this point in time, and it's amazing. So, first off, just want to say thank you to everybody. We've been doing this YouTube thing for a few years now. It's been a while. It's been a lot longer than it actually seems like. I mean, I was in high school when I started this thing, early in high school when I started this thing, and here we are. We're in the NFC Championship game, man. It is absolutely crazy, and I'm just happy that I get to do this with y'all, man. Like, that I'm doing this. And, you know, we've had the ups, we've had the downs, man. I can remember the most popping thing that we were talking about is who the heck is going to be the next head coach when it's about the coaching searches. And, man, we're breaking down different coaching staff members. And that stuff is fun, but, man, to get here, like, it was always that thing where it's like, I believe in this team. I really do. And, honestly, man, when you just take it game by game, I come into these games and I'm confident. I was confident against the Rams. I was confident against the Buccaneers. But it still feels crazy. Like, there's, like, that mix of, one, this is just a good football team. You hear it from different spots, the media, oh, man, it's a big game. Oh, man, it's the Lions, though. You know what I mean? Oh, is it too big for them? Is it too big of a stage? You hear all those things. But that's not putting anything – there's no value to that to me. You know, I mean, it's great what the Lions are doing, but, you know, that's not taking a look at what actually happened on this play or that play, right? What took place here, breaking things down. No, that's not what that is. We really think about this Lions team, and this is just a good football team. It's just as simple as that. This is a really freaking good football team, and I know we always say, well, the future's bright. The future is bright, and we're seeing that. The reason we know it's bright is because this man, the jersey that I'm wearing, by the way, shout out to Michael Banks, this jersey that I'm wearing, this Derek Barnes jersey, the guy that sealed this freaking football game with an interception that was amazing, this draft class is becoming the veterans on this team. This draft class, this is the future, right? We see the future. Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, right? We're seeing Sam Laporte. We're seeing the future take place. You know, Jamir Gibbs. But at the same time, and there's other players, of course, but we're also seeing now the veterans of this team, right? Those guys that have now gotten the snaps, Kirby Joseph, Derek Barnes, even Aiden Hutchinson because of how many snaps he's taken, but specifically this first draft class, Aleem McNeil, Amon-Ra St. Brown, now Derek Barnes, Chase Lucas on special teams, right? Those guys are becoming the veterans of this unit. And to me, when you start to look at the progress of there's a lot of young talent coming in, right? You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have breakdowns. Barnes, player like that. Ify Melifonwu, forgot to throw him into the mix as well, right? Some of these guys, it's taken longer. Maybe it's injuries. Maybe it's a position transition. But what we're also saying is, man, with snaps, these guys are becoming those leaders of the team. The guys that come through in the big moments, whether that's last week, Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kirby Joseph, and you're seeing those guys consistently come through in the big moments. Those players through the first draft class. And at the same time, we're also seeing these young, talented players that we added to this team that are going to be the future. And the reason it's so bright is because now we're seeing that it's not just the guys that popped immediately, the St. Browns at the end of his first year, like, wow, that guy's really good. Penei Sewell, right? Oh, he's the first-round pick. But it's also the guys that have continued to fight their ways back, Levi Onwuzurike. It's also the Derek Barnes, the Ify Melifonwus that have found a way, right? That's the reason that the future is so bright of this team to me, because that continues on. And that's what's so special about this team now and beyond. But at the same time, man, speaking in the moment, this is just a really freaking good football team. I mean, it really is. And by the way, like, there's things I want to talk about individually here. Jared Goff, we heard the news. We heard it, according to Ian Rappaport, that there would be extension talks for Goff after the playoffs. Of course there will be. Let me just say that. Oh, my goodness, man. And y'all know how I feel about Goff. You guys know for years I've been saying I think he's going to get extended with the Lions. I think he's going to be the future with the Lions. That's what I thought. I thought Jared Goff was going to be the future. And I know there's been doubt and things like that. That's fine. It's fine to have that. But, man, and I'm not even saying this with Lions fans. I'm just saying what I hear, doing this media stuff, what I hear about Jared Goff under pressure. And, man, it's like, oh, you can rattle this guy and all these things. And I had heard it all, man. I've heard all the different scenarios. Oh, if you can't run the ball, I don't know, man. Oh, if you get any pressure, he just falls. Well, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. Oh, it's too big for him. The Rams, I mean, they traded him away. He couldn't get it. I'm not seeing it. As Dan Campbell put it, man, he knew what this guy was. When he saw this guy at the bye week when we were winless, right, and how this guy approached things, he never made it bigger than, man, my right foot was a little off there. Oh, I didn't get my eyes set in the right spot to start this thing off, man. It's never been bigger with that than Jared Goff. He's a pro's pro, man. This guy he just gets it done, man. He gets it done. He learns. He tweaks. You see adjustments. There's things he still needs to work on, but you can see the improvements in his game, man. And the guy's toughness, as Dan Campbell's word was to be, resilience. Everywhere he's been, Cal, L.A., now Detroit, being a part of the turnaround there, the culture, the vibe that I thought that he brought when he first got here, like as a fan, going to training camps, like the vibe that was around him, like there was just confidence around the whole Jared Goff tree of like, hey, this thing's gonna get back on track. There was like no doubt whatsoever, and I think that's what Goff has brought to Lions. There was just no doubt. There was never a doubt. Like this thing is gonna get back. All the way to the funny clip of, man, the gut punches will stop. Like there was just never a doubt that this thing would get back on track, and you pair that with Dan Campbell. Coming into confidence, the aggressiveness. People want to knock his aggressiveness situationally, but I'll tell you what, man, it trickles down. We did a Bleacher Report show. It trickles down. It goes from Sheila and the confidence that she had, the buy-in she had when the team was 4-19-1 under this coaching staff, and she didn't go out there and fire everybody like we've seen before with this ownership. No, she said, oh, these are my guys. They'll be all right. She backed them. And it starts with her, and it's trickled down. It's trickled down to even an in-game situation like this. Ben Johnson, the aggressiveness at the end of that game. Now, I know there'll be questions. Oh, man, he was too aggressive in that final drive. And I get it. We can question specific things, and we'll do those things during the week. However, one thing you can't question is that Ben Johnson comes in with a game plan, and he's going to play that game plan. There's just no backing off. There's no like, I don't know if we want to put it in his hands. While people may question that last drive, and I'm not going to sit here and question his aggressiveness at spot, because the drive before, I'm sitting there watching thinking to myself, oh, absolutely, Lions are going to run the football. But no, what they did was they stuck to what they've been doing all game long, passing on early downs, limiting the blitz impact, knowing they had to throw the football to kind of loosen up this defense, because last time we played this team, we literally could not run the ball at all in that game. Putting passing attempts on Jared Goff, but throwing the ball early, getting the ball out quickly, right? Not looking for all those big shot plays, getting behind the chains. They stuck to their game plan, and they just did not get off of it. They didn't waver. It was working. They stuck to it. It didn't matter what the situation was. They weren't going to pull back. They wanted those fade routes to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They continued to put it out there until it worked. They had a plan coming in. It's just like the LA Rams game. As I told you guys, when I stepped back, originally I'm thinking, man, the Lions were aggressive. They were throwing it there, to Montgomery and St. Brown. That was an aggressive play call. But no, all it was is that was their game plan coming in. Throwing on early downs is what they had been doing all game long. And all they did was they just didn't back off of what they were doing all game long, who they were. And that's the kind of confidence confidence that just like the 2-point conversion against Dallas that people want to question why they keep doing it. Because he told them they were going to do it. Because he told them, hey, we're going to go down here, we're going to score a touchdown. That same thing that Dan Campbell did in that game is what we continue to see from this coaching staff. And to me, it's a huge reason the results are where they are. Because there just isn't questions, there's no hesitation, there's no second guessing. This is what we're doing, this is our game plan, this is what we're going to do, and it's going to work. And we believe in it. So we're not going to back off it. Right? We're not going to be afraid. And the Lions go out there. That doesn't mean you do things reckless and you're just going for it no matter what. That's not who the Lions are. And we've seen examples of that. But it's playing to what you believe, just not backing off of that. They're just not backing off of that. And that's been kind of the story of the Lions, finding different ways to win and being that way through the coaching staff. And again, to me, that starts to the top. Honestly, I think this is one of our better previews / predictions. I had us winning by 8. I had it 24-16. We won by 8, 31-23. So a couple more touchdowns on each side. I was the touchdown off on each side. But it was one of my better ones, I think. Obviously, a lot of that helped me because I was able to watch the first time we played this team and go see what Tampa Bay has done recently. I thought the scoring would go up a little bit. Went up a little bit further than maybe that I thought it would. But one of the keys coming in, of course, was Mike Evans. You got to limit the big plays. And I'll tell you what, man, it was the sequence before half. So I'm charting, just different key plays that stand out to me as we're going through this game, offensively, defensively. And, we start from the beginning here. Kalijah Cansey really had 2 third-down stops. Lions were 6 for 14. They were actually really good on third down in this game. They really had 2 third-down stops, though. Kalijah Cansey batted one down at the line of scrimmage early in the game. First drive of the game, 3 and out. And then also we had the sack on 3rd and 2, which is the injury that the play that Frank Ragnow was hurt on. By the way, Frank Ragnow, just a ridiculous block. Craig Reynolds, ridiculous block on Vita Vea. One of the best in the business. Incredible, man. Incredible toughness. Brock Wright's also banged up. It doesn't sound good with him. We'll keep an eye on Josh Reynolds as well. I don't know how great that's going to be. That's why you trade for a guy like Donovan Peoples-Jones to add some depth there. Flip it around to the defensive side of the ball, man. And really, I thought for a lot of this, while there were stretches of that wasn't great, before half, you could argue the last touchdown that we gave up as well. But honestly, man, the before half sequence was the worst sequence of the game. Yet at the same time, I think that's what makes this team special, is finding ways to win, and it's not having to be the same way. Right, and at the same time, it's kind of just back what I said. They don't blink. Right, this is a situation where this game, it felt like we could go up 2 scores at half, and we were going to be in control of this game throughout. And that did not happen. The first half basically ended the worst way possible as a Lions fan. Yet, they didn't hesitate to come out in the second half, get a stop, offense stalls out, get another stop, we take the lead, and we're right back in control of the game. That was awesome to see that this team respond that way, because that half did not end the way that you would have hoped it to. Defensively, it was a CD Deuce interception set up by a tip, but also by an Ify Melifonwu sack. Give Aaron Glenn credit, man. He was getting multiple guys unblocked. I thought this offensive line would have questions and have issues with that, and he was doing a really good job. Obviously you give up some plays, some of it's schematic beaters, some of it's breakdowns, but he did a really nice job multiple times just having guys unblocked. Brian Branch, safety position, Aiden Hutchinson, and he got them behind the chains. CD Deuce did his thing, talked a little crap afterwards, I guess, as well, but came through with the interception. You get back out there, you're forced to take a field goal. And it was tough. This is one of the best red zone defenses yet. We stuck to what our game plan was, and we're going to throw the ball, right? We can't run this thing into a brick wall. That's what Dan Campbell said after the game. Again, they played into that. They were throwing the ball really from the 15-yard line in. It was like, hey, we're going to pass the football from here. We're going to try to pass the ball. Once they got to the 1, they kind of simplified. Let's just run it in. And that was as simple as Frank Ragnow won that matchup. But they stuck to who they were. Back on the defensive side of the ball, RPO play, with the one big play that they had. I don't know if it was a tweak that Lions made or that they just didn't go back to it, but you gave up one of those plays. I'm not surprised they went back to it. They did it 3 times, had big plays against us before we had to tweak and adjust to not allow them to have that easy. But they had it once. At that defense, they get the stop on that possession again by a key blitz. Brian Branch brings the blitz on the play, gets them behind the chains. We're able to force a field goal attempt. Back on the offensive side of the ball, again, early passing, which we talked about in our preview. Heavy personnel in the first half, which we talked about in our preview. Limiting kind of the coverage movement, but also at the same time really kind of nullifying how effective their blitzing is. And this is something I said in the Bleacher Report stream, that I think one of the keys that you can look at and to know that your coordinators are doing their thing is when you know about a team based on something. So Tampa, you think of their defense, you think about the blitzing. Yet when you watch us play Tampa Bay, neither of the games that I stepped back after rewatching it the first time around, I knew they liked to blitz. I knew the numbers behind it, and I knew that was the talk. That time, and then again this time, I never walked away from that thinking, man, the blitzing was the difference. It just didn't ever feel like it played an impact in the game. And that's a credit to Ben Johnson. He nullified that really well. Lions had an excellent game plan, in that sense. I mean, there's specific plays that, you can question at times. but the overarching game plan was on point. Once again, big third down conversions. Amon-Ra St. Brown made some ridiculous grabs. Sam Laporta, that was a big-time throw. 3rd and 4, hit Sam Laporta. One of the best throws of the day from Jared Goff with pressure on his face. By the way, I thought Jared Goff couldn't throw when there's pressure. When there's pressure, it's over. I mean, it's over. Everybody's worse when there's pressure. I've been saying this for a while. Every quarterback's worse when there's pressure. Baker Mayfield's pick. Under pressure is different than being blitzed. Lions been good against the blitz. For some reason, I continue to hear that, so I just had to make it clear that that was a great throw by Jared Goff. Again, he's not always going to be perfect when there's pressure. Definitely not going to be. Everybody's worse when there's pressure, but he made a big-time throw right there. And then, obviously, Josh Reynolds back of the end zone. Dude got wide open in the red zone, 9 yards out. I mean, that's where the Lions were striking against this team. Flip back to the defense side of the ball. You have the offensive pass interference, which kind of backs them up. Obviously, that leads to a punt. Back on offense, and this was really the sequence. This sequence, to me, was where things could have easily went downhill. Right, again, in the past, whether that's Minnesota, they fumble, Lions don't recover. You're thinking, oh, goodness, they lost their opportunity. That was their chance to win the division. You pick up the ball, game's over. But the truth is those things happen, right? Good teams still find a way out of that. There just isn't we don't blink. We don't, because this thing went wrong. It's like, oh, man, now everything starts spiraling out of control. The Lions have been so good at avoiding that. That Vikings game, oh, my goodness, we didn't recover the fumble. And then all of a sudden, boom, chunk play, first down. You're like, oh, my goodness, we're going to blow this. And we're only up by 6. But then what happens? If he comes up with an interception. One of those players we're talking about becoming a veteran on this team. But this specifically, Jameson Williams, take a shot play. I didn't seem like he was able to track it. Come back, Jameson Williams, contested, doesn't come up with a contested grab. 3rd down, St. Brown, open on the play, puts it on, great throw, drops it. Right there is where you're thinking like, oh my goodness, that was our opportunity. We had multiple opportunities pushing midfield to seemingly go up by 2 scores. And then it was the defense initially, 3rd and 5. Again, Aaron Graham brings the blitz. Guy gets unblocked on the play, forces Baker Mayfield to go high. Again, under pressure, it's a little bit more difficult. Then again, offensively, you left your opportunity to, again, put up points before half there because of a sack on 3rd and 2. Again, we're hoping Frank Reynolds okay, but you lose the block there with Graham Glasgow. By the way, shout out to K.O. for stepping in. K.O. has continued to improve ever since he's gotten here, man. He's continued to earn that role, and I think that's awesome for K.O. So shout out to him. That was actually one of our notes coming into the playoffs, is that K.O., because he's gotten these snaps, has actually become kind of reliable at guard. He's actually been okay. Like, he's been real solid for us, and he's gotten so many opportunities to play that it's actually been, in a way, kind of a positive, and we'll see where that's at with Jonah Jackson. That's obviously a key injury. We'll have to keep an eye on it. He tried to return. Appreciate you, Jonah Jackson, for trying to get back into this one. But the good thing is that Coyote has had a lot of snaps, and he's improved all the time. It was before half. So you leave those passes out there. Then before half, defensively, it's the other side, Buccaneers, that go out there and make plays. And again, they're really good at receiver. And they left things out there. The first interception off his hands. But they go down and they score, set up by a ridiculous grab, one-handed, 2nd and 10, very tight coverage, just an incredible grab. You come back, you miss the jam at the line of scrimmage, gets behind Sutton. There's your chunk play. Then they score, essentially, because of the big play that they hit to Mike Evans one-on-one with Cam Sutton, right? Cam Sutton's trying to stay on top of it, kind of gets behind him a little bit on the play, kind of loses him, makes a ridiculous, contorting grab, and then they punch it in with kind of a little pick play they set up because they were so close to the end zone. So they make their plays. We don't. We know that they have the ball going out in the second half, and Dan Campbell's message, there was no panic. It was just like, hey, we knew it was going to be like this. It was preparing for, hey, this is just how the game goes. There's ups, there's downs, whether that's individually from a cornerback. That's why you got to stay locked in, right? Cam Sutton's big play last week, it was a rough game. Yet, stays locked in, just never phased, and all of a sudden makes the big play. Just stay locked in. This is just how things go. It's kind of like basketball. There's runs in basketball, right? If a team goes on a run and the game's over because they had one run, you're going to be in trouble. Not going to have success as a team. And the Lions were able to just kind of absorb that, and they get back out there, and it still wasn't even the best start. It wasn't like our offense went out there and was great, or our defense had the immediate, great setup. I mean, the first play, right, we had confusion. It was like, okay, what's going on? Hutchinson's dropping the coverage. Aleem's dropping the coverage. They pick up a first down on first down. You're thinking, oh, goodness, what's going on here? But then again, defensively, you come through schematically. Aiden Hutchinson gets a sack. You get back on the offense side of the ball. You're thinking, okay, let's get this thing going. 2 incomplete passes. You try to hit St. Brown. Then on the 3rd down, you're like, oh, big chunk play. Great. Josh Reynolds. It's called back by a chop block. And you're like, oh, goodness. So now you punt it back. And then again, defensively, they kind of held us in it. And who was it? It was the defensive backs. So before the first half, you're thinking, man, the defensive backs just gave up some plays. All of a sudden, they come back out there, and they're the ones that give us the ball back. Brian Branch, tackle for loss. Slot blitz. Again, well done. Well done, right? And that can blow up plays. We've seen that. A lot of our run defensive success, we talked about this year, has come from extra defenders, right? It's come from blitzing as well. And right there, Brian Branch puts him behind the chains. Kirby Joseph dives on the route. He's a veteran on this team because how many snaps he's been playing. Breaks it up. Now it's 3rd and long. And then again, they try to take a shot at Cam Sutton. Does not happen. Now you have to punt the ball. So, again, defensively, man, it's not perfect. You're going to have backs. You're going to have backs and forth. But they have risen, man, and it's been that balanced Lions have found all year is that they've been able to pick each other up. One side's, that's not good. Other side picks each other up. They've been able to do that all year long, man. It's been an awesome balance of that this entire season. You go back to the offense, and here we go. We start to click again. You know, you run the little Jets play. Brock Wright, dude, wide open on play. No one's expecting him to block down and kind of leak out. That's what he does. It was like one of their goal line touchdown plays. Ran against the Jets, won a game on it. And here we go. Big chunk play for Brock Wright. Sets everything up. Then he gets Jamir Gibbs going. They used a lot of those counter pulls for Penei Sewell. Got him on the edge. He was the complete difference in the run game, as well as give the blocking credit. But Jamir Gibbs' speed, his ability to just go, his juice, I thought that would be a huge difference. That's why I thought Jamir Gibbs would be big in this game. It was part of the preview prediction. Turns out he was the reason that this run game really kind of popped for us, was his kind of just electricity. But also he had the tough runs in there too. You know, some short yardage runs falling forward. But the juice that he gives you as a back against this defense that can just fly around, I thought was massive in this one. And then, of course, Craig Reynolds. They made you work for it. They covered it up well the first couple plays. You know, it's kind of like the first drive where Jamel Dean dropped the interception. It was hard to throw down there. But Craig Reynolds, for a package that a lot of times he kind of steps in, pass protects, you know, Lions throw off it. They threw it the last couple times. They're like, we trust him. We're going to hand it to him. They hand it off to him. Frank Ragnow, MVP type of block. That's an all-pro type of block. He punch it in to the defense side of the ball. So now, okay, offense got to pick up the defense. Defensively, you know, red zone defense, really good. Even the two-point conversion, it was good again. And that's been a huge part of this team, right? It's, again, clarity. What is this defense? Very good against the run. That's what we have to be. Have to be opportunistic. We've already had an interception. We got 2 in this game. And then also, you know, and that's because all the things that we can mix up defensively when we get to those spots. We have some veterans in the back end that are playmakers. That's really our most experienced position is the back end. It just sounds weird, but it kind of is. They come up with big plays. They're making red zone stops. That's who this defense is. So, again, you know, you're doing well in the red zone, and it's a 3rd and 10. You try to bring the blitz, and it's worked. I point out multiple examples of works. This time it doesn't. You know, you show that kind of double A gap blitz. You bring it up the middle. They set up a screen, and they make you pay for it. They score a touchdown. So now offense has to find a way to respond. And that's exactly what they do. The very next possession, the Lions go down to score a touchdown to respond to what they did. And again, you had what seemed like some breakdown. It seemed like the first shot play was like a cover 3, pulled a corner out of the play. And sometimes you just have good schematic beaters.
And one point I will make to that, at least for one example, is the Lions at one point did break a tendency. There was a 3rd and long in this game where the Lions usually in those spots play cover 3, and they did. But they also, at one point on a 3rd and long, played 2 deep safeties against this team. So they broke a tendency that they constantly see. And because of that, you know, you end up getting a stop. And it made a ton of sense against this offense, but slight break of a tendency there to just change it up from what you normally do.
Go out there and you answer it. It was Josh Reynolds, and it was a Jamir Gibbs takeover, right? Jamir Gibbs out of the backfield in the passing attack. Jamir Gibbs breaking a run for 31 yards, the explosiveness, and it was an immediate response followed by the defense saying, okay, you got the lead back. Let's do this thing. It was, to me, an Alex Anzalone type of possession, right? Alex Anzalone, first play, they try to swing it out. Alex is there, incomplete. You know, you come back on 3rd down, he gets to stop. On 2nd down, Ali McNeil pressure. If he could have had 1 sack, not only was my preview prediction, I felt pretty good about it, but, man, my parlay, if Aleem would have had 1 sack, I would have hit it. I had 5 things going there. That was the one thing that I missed in this one was Aleem's sack. Got some pressure, which is great. I'll take the dub. But he needed 1 sack, and he was unable to do it, man, which stinks. I wish he would have, but it's all right. And then, again, offensively, being able to then build out the lead after forcing that stop, a massive 10-play, nearly 6-minute drive, you know, ended up being key. It took so much time off the clock, and then, again, it was just coming through. Who was it last week? It was St. Brown to seal the deal. 3rd and 15. Zion McCollum's in the game. Mel Dean, you know, you hate that for him. James Williams, you attacked with that, you know, when he stepped in the game. And then again, it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3rd and 15. Simple as that. You got him one-on-one on the outside. This is why he's so darn good. This is why he's an all-pro, because he's not just a slot. Let's not put him in that box. The dude can line up wide. He lines up everywhere. His ability to just line up wide against a guy that completely physically outsizes him, run a curl route, a deep curl route, come back to the ball. Goff puts it on him, picks up a 1st down. Shout out to the pass pro. You know, while we did a really good job kind of minimizing their blitz, we also did really well in pass protection versus 4-man rush for a lot of the day. And that was also a huge part of that running back pass protection. You know, Gibbs had a big pass protecting block where he just ran the linebacker out of the play. Dave Montgomery, we gave up the 1 sack there with Montgomery, but, you know, those guys did do really well because not only did you not notice really the blitzing, you didn't notice a ton of pressure because Lions did really well there against their 4-man rush. And they got really good players there that can get after the quarterback there. So the 3rd and 15, then you go back to Laporta, he was eating, and then probably the dime, you know, of the year, maybe think of the Packers touchdown that we threw to Hockenson. You know, you just drop it in the bucket to St. Brown. That's like Goff's specialty, kind of that like 3-step drop it in the bucket, that little touch pass. That's just where he is money, and that was just a ridiculous throw, dude. Dropped it in the bucket. Defensively, you give up a touchdown, but it's really set up by you played it well. You give a big kind of a pick play in man coverage. They picked a big chunk up, kept that drive alive, and then it was one-on-one with Mike Evans kind of running that post in the end zone where he kind of just boxed out Cam Sutton. And then again, defensively, like that drive before, Lions were aggressive. So, of course, offensively, they were going to be aggressive again. And you can look at it, right? You can look at it and say, okay, on a 2nd and 7, they tried to screen. It did not work. I thought it was a heads-up play by Goff. They wanted to get a shot. Didn't like it, so he ran back, stayed down, didn't throw the ball away, tried to get back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 7, you lose 4 yards. You try to set up that screen pass, miss Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, again, offense, they were unable to seal the deal. And it's just finding different ways to win. Defense now picks it up. And who was it? It was freaking Derek Barnes, and I absolutely love that for him, man. It was freaking Derek Barnes, which started off with Jalen Reese-Maven, who's been big time in coverage, limits it. Now they're starting to move fast, and it was funny because people were asking right before, it's like, hey, why is Barnes out there? And like I said, he's not a great pass rusher to me. But what he does bring is flexibility. And there's questions, man, why is James Houston not active? And we talked about before, it's like, I was kind of in a way, and I said this in my Friday injury report, if you saw that video, I was in a way like I'm not sure who they're going to replace, because Romeo's played well, so I don't know how you take him off. I know they're going to have all their off-ball linebackers available, so I wasn't really sure who they were going to make inactive for James Houston to play. And maybe we'll find out more about this, and this may not be the reason why, but I wasn't sure where they were going to go with that. And obviously, James Houston was inactive, and I wouldn't say, I don't think that counts him out for the rest of the playoffs. I think at some point he might be up. We got hopefully 2 more games. That's division, right? We got 2 more games. I think at some point he may play for us, but in this matchup, I wasn't sure where that was going to go. And it was Derek Barnes, one of those guys the Lions want to have active because of the flexibility that he also brings and also that rotation they've seen at the off-ball position. They trust him. He's grown a lot this year. There's been games this year where I'm like, man, what is he doing in coverage? And it just, as the year goes on, you trust him more and more, and he makes the game-saving play. One of the veterans on this team, like kind of one of the unsung heroes, right? Showing that pressure off the edge, dropping into coverage, you bring it off the other side, so Baker Mayfield's in trouble. He looks back the other way, says, let me just throw this thing, and Barnes makes a ridiculous snag and seals the deal, man. This was kind of just like what we've seen all season long, finding different ways to win, schematically being on point. We did actually a video this week on Bleacher Report, I think it's worth checking out, where we just talked about Aaron Glenn, and we looked at stylist and schematically what they did against the Rams, but we also just looked at the pure numbers of it, the development of this defense. I think you take a look at, where we're young in spots. We know we have issues. Again, there's no team in the playoffs that's walking in saying, man, we have no problems. There are teams that may be better off than others, like Baltimore. They're a really good team, well-rounded, but everybody's got something that can be exploited. Everybody has something that can be exploited. And I think when you look at it like the Lions do as well, it's about leaning into your strengths and being able to try to hide those things. But at the same time, we just needed stability at cornerback. And I think for the Lions right now, man, Aaron Glenn's doing a heck of a job. Ben Johnson's doing a heck of a job. As usual, these coordinators are awesome. Even Dave Phipp with Peoples-Jones giving you a different look. So they're going to try to block it? Are they not? Like, special teams has been money. Coordinators are incredible, and here we go again. Lions handle the business, man, and the future is bright. But that's 14 wins now on the season, and we have an opportunity to represent the NFC and go to the Super Bowl, man. I mean, you couldn't ask to have it any other way. You got a chance to go play San Fran. They're beatable.
And a quick little side note, first team we played in the Dan Campbell era, I was at that game in Ford Field. Lions fought their way back. They battled, and really that's been the identity of this team since Dan Campbell's got here, was against San Fran. It was 41-33. Lions were 25 yards away, giving themselves a chance to tie that game. Obviously, we were in completely different spots of where we were both building from, but that was like, oh, this Lions team, they're going to fight. And you felt good about that. And now they got a chance to play them again a few years later for the NFC Championship. It's a crazy full circle type moment. Also, if you go back to the Lions 8-2 finish, we said it on stream, I think that's 22-7 that the Lions are, if you just include that 8-2 to what they have done so far this season. 22-7 the last 29. It's incredible.
The weather should be solid. It's on the road, but man, there isn't much of a better place to go on the road at this time of the year than San Francisco. Like, it could have been really anywhere else would have been like, oh, that's not great. San Francisco, if there's one place I'd go on the road, that's the place. Outside of being indoor, it's there, right? If I got to go on the road and play outside, that's the place I want to go. And like we've seen, man, they are definitely beatable, and it's one more game. You just got to get in and give yourself a chance. This ain't a 7-game series. You just got to beat them one time. And, man, I'll tell you what, this Lions team is good. I mean, just simplified that this is a good team, and they can beat anybody. And as Dan Campbell said, he envisioned us playing with the big dogs. The Lions are one of the big dogs in the NFL right now. They can beat anybody, and right now they've earned that opportunity to go show it on Sunday next week, man. I'm fired up, man. Appreciate y'all joining this one. We'll be back during the week to talk a little bit more about this game and the upcoming game. If you do want to go check out the preview / prediction, see what we said in there, feel free. You don't have to. But I did feel like this is one of our better ones, man. And we're getting better. We're getting better. And the score prediction was a lot closer. I don't know if we're going to hit it this year. I don't know if we're ever going to hit it this year. But this was pretty good. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Brad, for watching. And I'm